Welcome to Global Bible Reading. Reading from the English version for the deaf. The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 20. David ran away from the camps near Ramah. David went to Jonathan and asked him, "What have I done wrong? What is my crime? Why is your father trying to kill me?" Jonathan answered, "That can't be true. My father is not trying to kill you. My father doesn't do anything without first telling me. It doesn't matter if it is very important or just a small thing. My father always tells me. Why would my father refuse to tell me that he wants to kill you? No, it is not true." But David answered, "Your father knows very well that I am your friend." Your father said to himself, "Jonathan must not know about it. If he knows, he will tell David. But as sure as you and the Lord are alive, I am very close to that." Jonathan said to David, "I will do anything you want me to do." Then David said, "Look, tomorrow is the new moon feast. I am supposed to eat with the king, but let me hide in the field until the evening. If your father notices I am gone, tell him David wanted to go home to Bethlehem. His family is having its own feast for this monthly sacrifice. David asked me to let him run down to Bethlehem and join his family. If your father says, 'Fine,' then I am safe. But if your father becomes angry, then you will know that he wants to hurt me. Jonathan, be kind to me. I am your servant. You have made an agreement with me before the Lord. If I am guilty, then you may kill me yourself, but don't take me to your father." Jonathan answered, "No, never. If I learn that my father plans to hurt you, then I will warn you." David said, "Who will warn me if your father says bad things to you?" Then Jonathan said, "Come, let's go out into the field." So Jonathan and David went together into the field. Jonathan said to David, "I make this promise before the Lord, the God of Israel. I promise that I will learn how my father feels about you. I will learn if he feels good about you or not. Then, in 3 days, I will send a message to you in the field. If my father wants to hurt you, I will let you know. I will let you live in safety. May the Lord punish me if I don't do this. May the Lord be with you as he has been with my father. Be kind to me as long as I live, and after I die, don't ever stop showing your kindness to my family. The Lord will destroy all your enemies from the earth. If at that time Jonathan's family must be separated from David, then let it happen. May the Lord punish David's enemies." Then Jonathan asked David to repeat his promise of love for him. Jonathan did this because he loved David as much as he loved himself. Jonathan said to David, "Tomorrow is the new moon feast. Your seat will be empty, so my father will see that you are gone. On the third day, go to the same place you hid when this trouble began. Wait by that hill. On the third day, I will go to that hill and act like I am shooting at a target. I will shoot some arrows. Then I will tell the boy
to go find the arrow. If everything is fine, then I will tell the boy, you went too far. The arrows are closer to me. Come back and get them. If I say that, then you can come out of hiding. I promise as surely as the Lord lives, you are safe. There is no danger. But if there is trouble, then I will say to the boy, the arrows are further away. Go get them. If I say that, then you must leave.
The Lord is sending you away. Remember this agreement between you and me. The Lord is our witness forever. Then David hid in the field. The time for the new moon feast came, and the king sat down to eat. The king sat next to the wall where he usually sat. Jonathan sat across from Saul. Abner sat next to Saul, but David's place was empty. That day Saul said nothing. He thought maybe something happened to David so that he is not clean. On the next day, the second day of the month, David's place was empty again. Then Saul said to his son Jonathan, why didn't Jesse's son come to the new moon feast yesterday or today? Jonathan answered, David asked me to let him go to Bethlehem. He said, let me go. Our family is having a sacrifice in Bethlehem. My brother ordered me to be there. Now, if I am your friend, please let me go and see my brothers. That is why David has not come to the king's table. Saul was very angry with Jonathan. He said to Jonathan, you are the son of a slave woman who refuses to obey, and you are just like her. I know you are on David's side. You bring shame to yourself and to your mother. As long as Jesse's son lives, you will never be king and have a kingdom. Now, bring David to me. He is a dead man. Jonathan asked his father, why should David be killed? What did he do wrong? But Saul threw his spear at Jonathan and tried to kill him. So Jonathan knew that his father wanted very much to kill David. Jonathan became angry and left the table. Jonathan was so upset and angry at his father that Jonathan refused to eat any food on the second day of the feast. Jonathan was angry because Saul humiliated him and because Saul wanted to kill David. The next morning, Jonathan went out to the field. He went to meet David just like they agreed to do. Jonathan brought a little boy with him. Jonathan said to the boy, run, go find the arrows I shoot. The boy began to run, and Jonathan shot the arrows over his head. The boy ran to the place where the arrows fell. But Jonathan called, the arrows are farther away. Then Jonathan shouted, hurry, go get them. Don't just stand there. The boy picked up the arrows and brought them back to his master. The boy knew nothing about what went on. Only Jonathan and David knew. Jonathan gave his bow and arrows to the boy. Then Jonathan told the boy, go back to town. The boy left, and David came out from the place he was hiding on the other side of the hill. David bowed him his face to the ground in front of Jonathan. David bowed 3 times. Then David and Jonathan kissed each other. They both cried together.
But David cried more than Jonathan. Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace. We use the Lord's name and promise to be friends. We say that the Lord will be the witness between us and our descendants forever." Chapter 21. Then David went away, and Jonathan went back to the town. David went to the town named Nob to see Ahimelech the priest. Ahimelech went out to meet David. Ahimelech was shaking with fear. Ahimelech asked David, "Why are you alone? Why is not anyone with you?" David answered Ahimelech, "The king gave me a special order. He told me, 'Don't let anyone know about this mission. No person must know what I told you to do. I told my men where to meet me. Now, what food do you have with you? Give me 5 loaves of bread, or whatever you have to eat." The priest said to David, "I don't have any ordinary bread here, but I do have some of the holy bread. Your officers can eat it if they have not had sexual relations with any women." David answered the priest, "We have not been with any women. My men keep their bodies holy every time we go out to fight, even on ordinary missions. And this is especially true today, when our work is so special. There was no bread except the holy bread." So the priest gave David that bread. This was the bread that the priest put on the holy table before the Lord. Each day they took this bread away and put fresh bread in its place. One of Saul's officers was there that day. He was Doeg the Edomite. Doeg was the leader of Saul's shepherds. Doeg had been kept there before the Lord. David asked Ahimelech, "Do you have a spear or sword here? The king's business is very important. I had to leave quickly, and I did not bring my sword or any other weapon." The priest answered, "The only sword here is the sword of Goliath the Philistine. It is the sword you took from him when you killed him in the valley of Elah. The sword is behind the ephod, wrapped in a cloth. You may take it if you want to." David said, "Give it to me. There is no sword like Goliath's sword." That day David ran away from Saul. David went to Achish, king of Gath. Achish's officers did not like this. They said, "This is David, the king of the land of Israel. He is the person the Israelites sing about. They dance and sing this song about him. Saul has killed thousands of enemies, but David has killed tens of thousands." David paid close attention to what they said. David was afraid of Achish, king of Gath. So David pretended to be crazy in front of Achish and his officers. While David was with them, he acted like a crazy man. He spat on the doors of the gate. He let spit fall down his beard. Achish said to his officers, "Look at the man. He is crazy. Why did you bring him to me? I have enough crazy men. I don't need you to bring this man to my house to act crazy in front of me. Don't let this man come into my house again." Chapter 22. David left God. David ran away to the cave of Adullam. David's brothers and relatives heard that David was at Adullam. They went to see David there. Many people joined David. There were men who were in some kind of trouble, and there were men who owed someone a lot of money, and there were men who were just not satisfied with life. All those kind of people joined David, and David became their leader. David had about 400 men with him. David left Adullam and went to Mizpah in Moab. David said to the king of Moab, "Please let my father and mother come to stay with you until I learn what God is going to do to me." So David left his parents with the king of Moab. David's parents stayed with the king of Moab as long as David was at the fort. But the prophet Gad said to David, "Don't stay in the fort. Go to the land of Judah." So David left and went to Heret Forest. Saul heard that the people had learned about David and his men. Saul was sitting under the tree on the hill at Gibeah. Saul had his spear in his hand. All of his officers were standing around him. Saul said to his officers, they were standing around him, "Listen, men of Benjamin, do you think the son of Jesse, David, will give you fields and vineyards? Do you think David will promote you and make you officers over 1,000 men and officers over 100 men? You men are plotting against me. You made secret plans. Not one of you told me about my son Jonathan. Not one of you told me that he made an agreement with the son of Jesse. Not one of you cares about me. Not one of you told me that my son Jonathan encouraged David. Jonathan told my servant David to hide and attack me, and that is what David is doing now." Doeg the Edomite was standing there with Saul's officers. Doeg said, "I saw Jesse's son David at Nob. David came to see Ahimelech, son of Ahitub." Ahimelech prayed to the Lord for David. Ahimelech also gave David food, and Ahimelech gave David the sword of Goliath the Philistine. Then King Saul ordered some men to bring the priest to him. Saul told them to bring Ahimelech, son of Ahitub, and all his relatives. Ahimelech's relatives were priests at Nob. All of them came to the king. Saul said to Ahimelech, "Listen now, son of Ahitub." Ahimelech answered, "Yes, sir." Saul said to Ahimelech, "Why did you and Jesse's son David make secret plans against me? You gave David bread and a sword. You pray to God for him, and right now David is waiting to attack me." Ahimelech answered, "David is very faithful to you. Not one of your other officers is as faithful as David. David is your own son-in-law, and David is the captain of your bodyguards. Your own family respects David. That was not the first time I prayed to God for David. Not at all. Don't blame me or any of my relatives. We are your servants. I know nothing about what is happening." But the king said, "Amalek, you and all your relatives must die." Then the king told the guards at his side, "Go and kill the priests of the Lord. Do this because they are on David's side also." They knew David was running away, but they did not tell me. But the king's officers refused to hurt the priests of the Lord. So the king gave the other order to Doeg. Saul said, Doeg, you go kill the priests. So Doeg, the Edomite, went and killed the priests. That day Doeg killed 85 men priests. Nob was the city of the priests. Doeg killed all the people of Nob. Doeg used this sword and killed men, women, children, and small babies. And Doeg killed their cows, donkeys, and sheep. But Abiathar escaped. Abiathar was the son of Ahimelech. Ahimelech was the son of Ahitub. Abiathar ran away and joined David. Abiathar told David that Saul had killed the Lord's priests. Then David told Abiathar, I saw Doeg the Edomite at Nob that day, and I knew he would tell Saul, I am responsible for the death of your father's family. The man Saul who wants to kill you also wants to kill me. Stay with me. Don't be afraid. You will be safe with me. Chapter 23. People told David, Look at the Philistines are fighting against Keilah. They are robbing grain from the threshing floors. David asked the Lord, Should I go and fight these Philistines? The Lord answered David, Yes, go attack the Philistines, save Keilah. But David's men said to him, Look, we are here in Judah and we are scared. Just think how scared we will be if we go to where the Philistine army is. David again asked the Lord, and the Lord answered David, Go down to Keilah. I will help you defeat the Philistines. So David and his men went to Keilah. David's men fought the Philistines. David's men defeated the Philistines and took their cattle. In this way, David saved the people of Keilah. When Abiathar ran away to David, Abiathar took an ephod with him. People told Saul that David was now at Keilah. Saul said, God has given David to me. David has trapped himself. He went into a town that has gates and bars to lock the gates. Saul called all his army together for battle. They prepared to go down to Keilah to attack David and his men. David learned Saul was making plans against him. David then said to Abiathar the priest, Bring the ephod. David prayed, Lord God of Israel, I have heard that Saul plans to come to Keilah and destroy the town because of me. Will Saul come to Keilah? Will the people of Keilah give me to Saul? Lord God of Israel, I am your servant. Please tell me. The Lord answered, Saul will come. Again David asked, Will the people of Keilah give me and my men to Saul? The Lord answered, They will. So David and his men left Keilah. There were about 600 men who went with David. David and his men kept moving from place to place. Saul learned that David escaped from Keilah, so Saul did not go to that city. David went to the desert and stayed in the fortresses. There, David also went to heal the country in the desert of Ziph. Every day Saul looked for David, but the Lord did not let Saul take David. David was at Horeb in the desert of Ziph. He was afraid because Saul was coming to kill him. But Saul's son Jonathan
went to see David at Horus. Jonathan helped David to have a stronger faith in God. Jonathan told David, "Don't be afraid, my father Saul won't hurt you. You will become the king of Israel. I will be second to you. Even my father knows this." Jonathan and David both made an agreement before the Lord. Then Jonathan went home, and David stayed at Horez. The people from Ziph came to Saul at Gibeah. They told Saul, "David is hiding in our area. He is at the fortresses of Horez on Hakilah Hill, south of Jesimon. Now, king, come down any time you want. It is our duty to give David to you." Saul answered, "The Lord bless you for helping me. Go and learn more about him. Learn where David is staying, and learn who has seen David there." Saul thought, "David is smart. He is trying to trick me. Find all the hiding places that David uses, and come back to me and tell me everything. Then I will go with you. If David is in the area, I will find him. I will find him even if I must look through all the families in Judah." Then the people from Ziph went back to Ziph. Saul went there later. David and his men were in the desert of Moin. They were in the desert area south of Jesimon. Saul and his men went to look for David, but people warned David. They told him that Saul was looking for him. David then went down to the rock in the desert of Maon. Saul heard that David had gone to the desert of Maon, so Saul went to that place to find David. Saul was on one side of the mountain. David and his men were on the other side of the same mountain. David was hurrying to get away from Saul. Saul and his soldiers were going around the mountain to capture David and his men. Then a messenger came to Saul. The messenger said, "Come quickly, the Philistines are attacking us." So Saul stopped chasing David and went to fight the Philistines. That is why people call this place Slippery Rock. David left the desert of Maon and went to the fortresses Ner and Gadi.